What's up, family? Welcome back to Her Take by Layla Genius Says. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been rocking with me, you already know we don't sugarcoat nothing here. So today I will be discussing something that I've been seeing on social media. And it's regarding when it comes to Black entertainers, Black actors, and when it specifically focus on Black culture. So today's podcast is about they love our culture, but not our wins. Okay. So this is something that I've been seeing on everywhere on TikTok, Instagram. Apparently at the Critics' Choice Awards, Sinners was snubbed out, and a lot of people, especially Black people, took it upon themselves to express how they felt that I don't understand how you can snub an amazing film when it clearly is a bust. Here's what you have to understand is that this has been going on for years and decades. I feel as though as Black people as a collective whole that we need to stop getting validation from these people who still look at us as slaves. They still look at us as not at their level. So let's start there because this has been going on for years, and it seems as though that anytime when we see a Black film that is very successful, or a Black actress or a Black actor that has done an amazing job excelling this role, they're not getting recognition, they're not getting recognized. And before I get into the details, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt celebrated but not respected? Have you ever felt like people love what you bring? Your vibe, your creativity, your energy. But when it comes to time to give you credit, suddenly they go quiet. I want you to sit with that for a second because that feeling, that's exactly what Black creators, Black artists, and Black filmmakers have been dealing with for decades. And it's very interesting. It feels that you think that Ryan Coogler, who have directed so many films, do you honestly think he cares if he's getting snubbed? You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna put you on pause. I want you to listen to this clip. This clip on TikTok I found by Amanda, where she says different is always better and doing it differently. So basically she said that different is always better and doing it differently can be not playing the old game, but everything comes with trade-offs. And I love what she explained in this video because this is what Ryan Coogler has been doing. And this is what every Black person needs to start doing. So I will play this clip and we will come back and discuss this. Let's go.
What happens when you make a $367 million movie and critics and media still leave you off their year-end list? Welcome back to Talent Isn't Enough. Ryan Coogler being snubbed is not new. He's been snubbed for over a decade and he just keeps on winning. Fruitvale Station won Sundance, Oscars ignored it. Creed made $173 million. DeLong got the nomination and Coogler got nothing. Black Panther became the first superhero film nominated for Best Picture. Coogler was left out of Best Director. Now, Sinners, $367 million, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, 17 Critics' Choice nominations, and it's left off of Rolling Stone and Variety's year-end list. So let's break down Ryan Coogler's independence and the asset value of building direct-to-consumer. Number one, a part of success is about understanding trade-offs. So let's talk about the access trade-off many do not think about. In 2016, the Academy invited Coogler to join. He said no. He told interviewers he would rather join labor unions than voting bodies. And when you opt out of a system, that system stops advocating for you. Gatekeepers remember who does not play their game. The takeaway here for you is the people who control access and the people who buy are rarely the same. So pick your trade-off. Number two, find your signature style that works and let the consistency compound. Coogler has worked with Michael B. Jordan on every film he's ever made. Same composer, same values, same lane for a decade. That consistency creates a signature that people can follow. And when audiences follow your work across years, they move from being customers to believers. And believers show up on opening weekend, they buy merch, and they tell 10 friends to go watch your movie. $367 million does not come from casual fans. It comes from people who feel like they have an ownership in the experience. The takeaway here for you is find your Michael B. Jordan, find your Ludwig Göransson. Consistent teams create a signature, and signatures build followings, and followings buy on faith. Every article about Sinners being left off the list generated more conversation than the list itself. Fans tag Variety. I was even in the comments like, where is Sinners? Actors called them out. The snub trended. The takeaway here for you is not every room you're left out of is a loss. Sometimes that snub shows just how much of a room you've built for yourself. The industry can overlook you, but when your audience shows up with $367 million and fights on your behalf, you are no longer needing their validation because you've already won a different game. I study how remarkable things actually get built.
Now that's how it is. That's how you do it. Because I like this comment. He's not looking for their approval. The audience he meant to inspire was inspired. And I love that because I feel as though that this is what we need to start doing. We need to stop looking for validation from these people who look at us as slaves, look at us not at their level. We need to play this game and basically say that this is how I'm going to roll. I'm not going to conform to your ideologies. I'm not going to do the fuck what you want me to do because this is my project. This is my art. And with that being said, I'm going to show you that my film, my art, or music will literally outsold all of you. And that is what Ryan did. Ryan never wanted approval from those counterparts at all, which we will call them the 8.511 people. He was setting his own game at a level where he's like, all right, well, I'm going to make my film and I am going to release it, knowing damn well the audience, the fans and supporters are going to show up. So when you have that type of when you have that type of support and when people show up continuously and watch it over and over again, it brings a lot of buzz. You always going to have the naysayers and haters talk slack about you, about your art, about your music, about your film. And that will create a buzz around other people. You had other actors, you had other directors talking about the film saying that, I don't understand how this film is actually snubbed out. And you had other critics coming at Sinners, such as Rolling Stone, for an example, saying that, oh, this film is really shitty. It's not really that good. And then you have other actors and actresses and film directors who literally advocate this film and saw it saying that, well, I found it very interesting how you're saying that when it had 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, when it had a gross 367 million at the box office, when this film was released in April and was still in the theaters until June. Mind you, when Black Panther came out in 2017, that film was in the theaters for almost a year. Black Panther was released in February, I believe, and then it was still in theaters until August. And people were still showing up seeing that film. I saw Black Panther 3 times. There was other people that seen Black Panther 5 times. Listening to that clip, that how this first Marvel movie was nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, and yet Ryan Coogler was not nominated for a Best Director. How do you think Ryan Coogler felt? Do you think that man really gives a fuck what these critics, what these naysayers think? This is how you pay your haters and dust. You work and grind. You don't even pay attention to that negativity. You basically focus on your lane and focus on your craft. You surround the people who are going to literally bring this project into life and what he has did. You find your Michael B. Jordan. You find your music guy, which is Ludwig, and that's how you do it. You surround people who are literally going to build this franchise and build this film brick by brick. And that is what Ryan Coogler did with Sinners, Black Panther, and also when he started, there was Fruitvale Station. So even though all those films he did was snubbed out, that's fine because people are still going to talk about it for decades and years. And those films, mediocre films that won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, you're not going to be talked about because they're going to be talking about the people that were snubbed out because their presence in their art overpowers you, outshines you. You don't really need to have an award to show validation and recognition where you are because that shit don't even matter. Because based on what Amanda says, different is always better because when you're playing the lane, they ain't gonna be at that level. But I just want to say that I do respect this man and I like what he does. And I'm so glad that he has somebody like Michael B. Jordan to create his art, to create this film that we're able to see it. Because now what's going to happen is that Sinners, Black Panther, Creed, Fruitvale Station is going to be talked about for decades and years. Because what's going to happen is that when they're talking about a mediocre film, they're going to be talking about Sinners. They're going to be talking about Chadwick Boseman, who brought that film to life, the character T'Challa. Like, these films are going to be talked about for decades. Reading some of the comments in this video, yes, it is called jealousy because they will forever be jealous of us. Because remember, gatekeepers remember who does not play their game. And that is correct. And that's what Ryan Coogler is exactly on the list of folks because we are deeply inspired by this man because he's winning at their game while playing by his own rules at his own pace. And they don't even like that. It's so crazy how this man is literally changing the game in the film industry. This guy is playing chess. He's literally moving his queen and his king. Checkmate. That's what he's doing right now. This Ryan Coogler is the testament that you don't have to sacrifice your integrity for success. And I like that. I like that comment. There's another comment that says, we know Coogler is a GOAT. He doesn't need those awards to prove he's exactly who he thinks he is. The constant subbing of his success just shows how much he's winning because they can't win in a fair fight. I love that comment because he knows his worth. He knows that he doesn't need these validation because he's not looking for that. And not to mention, he is not looking for white validation. And I love that. I just really love what Amanda touched in this clip because it sums out everything what I've been saying. Because the other videos that I've been seeing is that I don't understand why Sinners didn't get nominated. It's so ridiculous how they snubbed it out. Let's stop it right there because this is the only video that I like that actually speaks volume. Let's take it a step back. Why are you so hell-bent and shocked that Sinners did not get nominated for any of these awards? Why are you so shocked till this day, knowing damn well, circa 1993, what's love got to do with it? Do you not remember when Angela Bassett played to a T hell out of the role Tina Turner? When I was watching What's Love Got to Do with It, I literally thought that was Tina Turner on the screen, but it was Angela Bassett. She was snubbed out. The Oscars, Golden Globes. This has been going on for years and decades. Why are you still shocked? And I like the fact that Ryan Coogler was just like sitting there chilling. He's just like, I ain't looking for this validation because at the end of the day, everybody's going to start talking and telling you that they like my film over your mediocre ass. What's good? I'm building a generation wealth. I'm building a legacy. That's what the fuck I'm doing. And that's what Black people need to do. I'm tired of seeing videos where every time when a Black actor, actress, or film director or movie is summed out, I'm seeing that I don't understand why this person is not getting the recognition it deserves. I don't understand why critics are talking about. Let's start why you don't understand because it seems like the chains are still wrapped around your head. It needs to be snatched from around your neck. Let's start there. Because the only video that I saw that was not begging for white validation or saying that I don't understand, they were showing you how to literally play chess in a predominantly white industry. It was showing you how to play checkmate. That's what it's basically telling you. And I love that. But let's get into it. Because this is a pattern of not coincidence, but not bad luck, but a pattern. So we all seen the Black Panther. It was a cultural reset. It was a global moment, a film that shifted the way Black stories were seen on screen, right? But yet, when award season came around, the recognition was never matched the impact. Here's the thing. When I look back, I'm actually glad that Black Panther did not win an Oscar. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, this film is still talked about till this day. This film came out in 2027 and it's still talked about 2025. When you're talking about other Marvel films, Black Panther is the top one that comes out. If you literally go on a list of all the Marvel films, Black Panther is the one that topped the best. If Chadwick never died and he did Black Panther 2, imagine how much records they would have broke, right? Yeah, because right now, Black Panther 3 is in the works. So Ryan Coogler is working something in the lab and he's keeping that top secret and gatekeeping it. So let's be clear. Black Panther is going to be a success. Here's the thing, just because Wakanda Forever didn't work out, all right, let's go back in the lab. What can we do to make this film more appealing and make the audience drawn in? Let's go back in the lab. Let's go back to the storyboard. That's how you do it, right? But I think what we've seen again and again is like filmers like Sinners, which was directed by Ryan. It was a powerful storytelling, Black excellence in front and behind the cameras and the still, and the same silence from the biggest institution. And I want to ask you this. At what point do we stop calling it coincidence and start calling it what it is, a system? How many times do we have to show up excellent before excellence finally gets treated like excellence? Because when this keeps happening, the message becomes loud, and even if nobody says it out loud. But I want to ask you this. Why is it so important for you to have validation? Because validation is not really that important. Because as long as your art, your film, your music is being celebrated and known and talked about, you do your job. You don't need that validation from those counterparts. You're good. So I did also spoke about the snubs earlier when I was when the clip was basically saying that different is always better. When it comes to certain institutions consistently overlook Black excellence, it does tell a story of whose stories matters the more. Do you notice that anytime when a Black actor, actress, or film they're getting nominated or they won for a slave world? Why is that? Because here's the thing, they look at us as slaves, and that's what they do. But let me ask you something real. What do you think decides what's considered great? And who benefits when Black greatness keeps getting pushed to the side? We need to just start gatekeeping and playing chess and just gatekeeping what we have and start playing the game instead of looking for validation. Because here's the truth. They love our music, our slang, and dances, and fashion, and our influence. But when it comes to honoring our achievements, that love suddenly turns into hesitation, but hatred and jealousy and envious. I'm not going to say it hurts me, not because we need approval, but because the fairness should never be optional. Because that doesn't hurt me. That just makes me see that I'm actually pushing the envelope. I'm breaking barriers. I'm showing you that this is who the fuck I am. And you're not going to silence my voice. That's what the fuck it is. So I'm going to speak briefly about Chadwick, someone who represents the conversation perfectly. He's a method actor. He played T'Challa and brought that character to life. This is a man who literally honored Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall. I saw the movie Get On Up, James Brown, and that was a Oscar-worthy film. And Chadwick played James Brown to a T. Again, when you're playing a biopic adaptation of someone, the goal is to make your audience feel like they're watching the person who you're playing and connecting with that character. Chadwick executed that. Because when I was watching Get It Up, I thought that was James Brown. The way how he was dancing and talking, it's the same way how James Brown was. This man carried Black history on his shoulders, quietly battling cancer while giving us everything he had. And I need you to really think about this, because this man wasn't just an actor. He was somebody who was advocating for the Black film industry, that he felt that they were not getting certain rights, certain pay grade when it comes to the role, or how they're not giving enough roles to Black actors based on their experience as well. I just want you to just really understand that Black actors and actresses are advocating for themselves, and they're advocating for their Black peers as well in the film industry. Whether you're not seeing in front of your face, that is happening behind the scenes. Till this day, they are fighting to get a not a seat, but to get something that they deserve and recognition. And I love it. But I really need you to really think about this, because how does someone give that much culture and still not get fully honored while they're alive? Because why do we have to wait until Black greatness is gone to finally say, oh, they were amazing? Because Chadwick should have won, not just for the talent, but for the impact. And every time I think about it, it reminds me sometimes the world is more comfortable celebrating us when we're no longer here to take up the space. And that's something we deserve to challenge. So let's talk about something else. Why we created our own tables, such as the NAACP Image Awards, the BET Awards, Soul Train Awards as well. We did not create these spaces because we wanted to separate ourselves. We created these spaces because we were tired of being excluded and snubbed out. And that's what happened in this situation. We were not recognized. We were not considered our talent. But I think what we have to stop doing is, I'm going to give you an example. Beyonce did a country album and she was not nominated for the Country Music Awards. Okay. Her tour, her music blew up. She's always had naysayers that didn't like her country. Oh, you're not country enough. You don't even know the history of country music. Okay, well, country music came from Black people. Let's start there. Let's start who created that genre. Let's start who created that sound, because Beyonce executed it. When she went on stage at the Country Music Awards, every white person in the audience was giving her the lynch look, giving her the, who is this hard ER on the stage? They felt threatened. They knew she was great, but they didn't want to admit it. They're like, wow, they're going to take over everything. Why does it have to go to thought that we're going to take over? Why can't we actually share, not share, but acknowledge our greatness and acknowledge our talents? That's it. Why does it have to be like that? But Beyonce has definitely pushed an envelope, because when she did that country album, a lot of country artists who has been snubbed out and not recognized, she brought them on her album. And now they are getting those recognition as they deserve. So I want to ask you this. Have you ever had to create your own table because you weren't welcome to theirs? Have you ever had to build your own lane because nobody wanted to open the door for you? Because when it comes to Black award shows, are not consolidation prizes, they are celebration of excellence in spaces where excellence is understood without explanation. But here's the real truth. We shouldn't have to choose between being celebrated by our own and being respected by the mainstream. We deserve both. But I also think that I could really care less about getting validation or being celebrated by both, because I think what we have to do is that, just speaking back to that clip of what Amanda was discussing with Ryan Coogler, is that being different is better, because he was not looking for validation. He was basically building art. And when you build that art in that film, he find his audience. So he pretty much executed. It wasn't really about the critics. It was just about his audience. It was about what the consumers and the fans were going to think about his work. That's what it was to me. So when you opt out being part of the Oscar chair board, and you pretty much don't want to be a part of that table and you just want to be with the unions and the labor workers, that's somebody who's very humble. That's somebody that is different, who doesn't really give a fuck about having a seat at their table and kissing their ass. He's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that's what the fuck I'm going to do. Now, let me bring this home, because this doesn't just happen in Hollywood. It happens at work. It happens in schools, friendships, and business. Because sometimes you'll notice people love what you bring, your energy, your ideas, in your creativity. But when it's time to give credit, they hesitate. And I want you to think about this. Have you ever been the one doing the work, but someone else got the applause? Have you ever felt like you had to work twice as hard just to be seen as half as good? That's the same system, just in different packaging. So, this is my message to Black creators. Your worth is not measured by trophies. Your value is not decided by gatekeepers. Your impact is not erased because someone chose not to applaud you. If nobody ever validated you or advocate for you, would you still believe in your greatness? Would you still show up for your purpose? Because here's what I know. They may love our culture. They may hesitate on our wins, but our wins still exists. Our wins is still talked about decades, year after year, decades after decade, with or without their approval. I'll end with this. Hollywood can love our culture, the industry can consume our creativity, the world can profit our influence. But sooner or later, they're going to have to learn how to respect our wins because we're not just the soundtracks. We're not just the trend. We're not just the moment. We are the We are the standard. We are the innovators, and the standards deserves recognition. So before I go, I want to ask you one last thing. What's a moment in your life where you felt overlooked, but you kept going anyway? And what did that teach you about your own power? So if this episode spoke to you, share it, send it to someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't need permission to be proud of your excellence. I'll see you in the next episode of Her Take by Layla Jean Yu says, peace, love, and blessings. I'm out.